And I believe that means we're live. Let me go ahead and no. See if I can pull this up on that TV up there. We've got a different kind of a system set up today, since we're doing all this live. I'm going to try to pull up our live stream on the TV up here so I can see what we're doing. Read the chat on the TV, and then I'll go ahead and get mashed in, and then once I'm mashed in, then we're going to go into kind of our normal talking about stuff Q&A style session. But I'll be standing instead of sitting. So first of all, let's see if I can find our live stream. Let me know how I'm looking and how I'm sounding. Live, there it is. I should be fairly mobile. That's where that's going to be, and I'm wondering if I can view live stream now with chat. That's what I want. See if I can figure out how to get the chat up on the TV. Levin watching. Worst case, I can just pull it up on my computer and have to go back and forth, but I'd prefer to not do that. Or I can use my phone. That also works. Leave a comment in the chat if you saw the video that we did the bagel beer video we released. Is it still quiet? It shouldn't be quiet. I'm on the condenser mic, so I'm all locked in. Up, bro. Turn the audio up. Is that even when I'm really close to the mic, or is that just when I'm far away? Riv says he can hear me perfectly. All right, the audio might go in and out when I'm away from the mic. I'll try to be close to the mic as much as possible, but when I'm actually doing things like mashing in, then that's not going to be doable. I'll go ahead and pull that up, pull the chat up on my phone so I don't have to try to go back and forth depending on where I'm looking. Dennis says, even when we're close, volume on the laptop is at maximum. I can barely hear me, even when I'm close to the mic. That is weird. Let's see what I can do real quick here. The MGXU. Okay. All right, even when I'm close like this, let's see if I can crank it up a little bit, but we can't go too high. Let's see if that's if that takes care of the issue. Looks on my end like I'm getting into the yellow, which usually means that we're good. So let me know if that's good. And turn the volume down on my phone so that I can't double hear. Earbuds in, even when close, a little bit better. Huh. Why would that be happening? That's on. That's on. We're all plugged in here. My output on my computer says we're pretty hot. Like if I crank it up to very, very maximum, that's really not much more we can go here. So the only other thing that I could think of is if I put on a different mic that acts as a shotgun mic, which I can try, and that'd give me more directional stuff, but then you'd be able to hear a lot of the background noise. So if we got to do that, I'll do that. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and let you guys know what I've got going on right here. 5-gallon mash and boil, 10-gallon on the Brewzilla 65-liter. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the Amber Lager that we talked about last week, which the link to the recipe is in the description below, on the big guy. And the fried green tomato cream ale, we're going to be going on the little guy. Most of the flavorings for all that is going to be happening post-fermentation. So today we're just basically brewing a clean Amber Lager and a clean, very, very corny though, cream ale. And then we're going to be talking about the flavorings that we're going to be using to get those all situated. Let's check back in. The only time you fade out is when you step away from the mic. It's only good when it's very close. Yeah, better on a Bluetooth speaker. Okay, well, give me a second. I'll throw on the shotgun mic for a second, and we'll see if we're liking that better. But if we're not, then this is kind of what we got to go with. And I understand that the audio is a big part of it, so let's try the shotgun for a second, but I don't want to do that too much. What we might end up doing is doing both of them, having the shotgun kind of going so that when I'm far away you can still pick up something, and then having the condenser mic so that when I'm saying something important I can get close to them, I can get you clear audio. We did try a new setup though. I'll show you guys. I've got multicam set up too, so you can see the wide angle stuff of what's actually going on in the brew day when we're doing brewing stuff. But we are working with new setups, so. Let's see, is that gonna be too loud? Is that too much? This one is the general mic that I'm talking into right now, so I'm hoping that doesn't pick up too much non-brewerizing stuff. And this one I also gotta figure out how to mount. So, stand by. Welcome to Learn How to Set Up a Live Stream Audio Thing. Get the shotgun mic going on this guy. Alright, so if that's going to work, then I'll be able to go back and forth between these two. So I think I can get this off. You guys are probably hearing all the muffled microphone fumbling around sounds. That was the exact opposite of what I thought it was. Dang it. Do I have something I can fit on that? The outside part does. Now I need a giant screwdriver. I might have one right here. Oh, did I get it? Oh, I got it. Nice. Okay. Almost done. All right, let me know if that's good. And then if I'm talking directly into something, I'll probably go over here unless this one just doesn't work at all, in which case I'll just unplug that one. But let me know if that's working for you. And then we can go ahead and get started. Let's take a look and see if anybody's still tuned in through all that chaos and mayhem. Hello, Frazzle. Yup. Right tool for the job. Perfect. Frazzle Penguin, what's up? When you get a chance, can you describe your setup for streaming? Just curious. Clean vocal with new mic. Nice. Yeah, so setup for streaming right now. I actually did something cool this time. I'll show you. On that way, you can see I have two different setups, so I can go from that angle and I can make that bigger if I want, so you can see actually what's going on over there. I've got that on my old camera being plugged into a capture card, which is going into the computer, which is right there. And then I've got my other camera, which is just directly plugged into my computer, and I've got a utility on OBS to be able to do that. Both these microphones are on a mixing board right there. And that mixing board is how I'm managing audio. Again, all that's just going into OBS, and then setting up my scenes I set up in OBS. So that's my live stream setup. Magnifico. Neat, starting a van. Favorite hops for cream ale / Kolsch. Today we did Mount Hood. Anything that's kind of like lemony grassy is kind of what I generally go for, but I didn't want too saucy on this one because I didn't want something that's going to distract from the fact that we're going to turn this into a fried green tomato beer. So I went with Mount Hood because it's got some of that classic, you know, Saz lemony flavor, but more or less it's kind of like earthy and peppery on top of it. Earthy in the good bright lemon way, not in the not in the like a Fuggles way or anything like that, or a Kent Golding's way. So let's go ahead and get mashed in. I've got both these set up to the right temperature right now. I've got to put a little bit more from this, from the big guy into the little guy, just because the big guy heats up faster, and so I put more into that. But let's go ahead and get mashed in, and then I'll talk about the recipes after I do that. So on both these, I'm going to go for a pretty heavy liquid to grain ratio, just because I don't want to do, I don't have to create a bunch of sparge water. So I have almost what I want my final volume to be in strike water in both kettles. So I'm going ahead and turning off the heat on both of them. So when I mash in, I'm not constantly adding heat, and I could mash in at the right temperature. Spilling. So I actually made a little bit of a blunder on the little kettle. I had that one strike water set too high and I didn't realize it. So we're going to be mashing in hotter than I want to on that one. But that should be okay. Because if you watched our... what's it called? Like the amylase enzymes that you can use. I'm totally spacing what it's called right now. but it's on that video, and those enzymes actually work up to 160 degrees. They don't denature as fast because they're a mixture of enzymes that aren't the enzymes naturally in grains. Some of them are alpha amylase enzymes that are in grains, but some of them are enzymes that work at a hotter temperature. So I'm going to use those and get my same result. As a normal rule, what I'll do though is I'll usually mash pretty low. I'll mash somewhere in the 140, as low as like 142, and I'll slowly ramp mash. But since doing everything kind of live, I'm going to speed run through a lot of this stuff and take a couple of cheat codes along the way. A lot of times I overnight mash too. Overnight mashing helps me get through all those different mash steps. And I can do it slowly over time. So I'll start, even with an overnight mash, if I need a little bit of acid rest too, I can mash in as low as, 125. Or I can get super crazy to a phytic acid rest and mash in at 90. But you'd want a lot of ricels in that situation. And that's a good candidate for enzymes as well. All right, so while we're doing that, let's go ahead and I'll kind of be going back and forth, but when I'm not going back and forth, I'll be over here by the green wall. Let's go over the recipes that we did on this. Perfect. Let me know if that works for audio-wise. I'm still sounding okay. All right, so for the recipe on this guy, let's go over to this. This is our recipe for the Pecan Amber Lager. That's going to be on this. So you see we kept it pretty simple. This is the same recipe that we showed you on last week's live stream. And we're just doing 20 pounds of Vienna and a pound of Special X. I did also add a little bit of lactic acid right to the grain bill, and that lactic acid is going to act to make sure that the mash pH gets low enough. Nice spiced English porter. Amyloglucose. There's a brand name for the enzyme that we use actually. I don't know why I'm spacing it. Optimash, that's what it's called. I've been in bed for most of the last week, by the way. I'm just getting over being the sickest I've been in my adult life. All right, so in the Pecan Amber Lager, we've got a pretty simple grain bill for to pop that red color and make sure it comes across as very red. I did use some Special X. I want this like an amber lager. But for the total percentage of the mash bill, that's less than 5%. It's not going to add a ton of that nice, almost pruny but pseudo nutty flavor that Special X can have, but it is going to make it just a brilliant color, especially on top of the Vienna malt as the base. Hallertau Blanc, just a simple 90-minute hop addition. I might speed run it. This is the recipe that I would do, but I might go faster on this depending on what my time looks like. And then for yeast, I put Harvest as a stopgap for both of them. I actually forgot what yeast we talked about using in both of them last week. I think for the Amber Lager, we talked about using Harvest. But for the fried green tomato beer, I think we talked about using something other than Harvest. It might have been Global, or it might have been like Dieter or something like that, but I forget what we talked about. So I have that there as a stopgap. I'll figure that out after the live stream. Here's my cream ale recipe. Like I said, we went heavy on the corn, 2 pounds of flaked corn. But we also added a good amount of Munich and special aromatic malt. The reason being I wanted to get into that bready, biscuity flavor that's going to give you the perception of something like a crust that you'd get on a fried green tomato. When it comes to actually flavoring this beer with the tomatoes, we're going to kind of take it from two different angles. We're going to take green tomatoes and we're going to dehydrate them to try to concentrate some of the acids that are naturally in there and some of the umami factors. Tomatoes have glutamate in there, and so or glutamic acid, and so that glutamic acid, when condensed, becomes a really, really intense umami flavor, which is going to, if I can get that in the beer, going to probably overwhelm it. But to counteract that, what I'm going to try to do, besides building a nice light-bodied grain bill, when I adjust the final gravity, you'll probably see this come down to the final gravity of like 1010. I'm going to adjust that with the, what's it called? The attenuation. And the reason I know the attenuation is going to be lower is because being a heavy corn grain bill, that's just a lot of simple sugars that's going to go, they're going to go away during fermentation. But it's going to be a nice dry final gravity body, and then I'm also going to add a little bit of additional flavoring acids at the very end. So I'm going to figure that out when the beer's all done and I get to taste the actual umami components that's going to get there. I'm going to get the umami part of the tomato in the beer first, and then I'm going to try to slowly add probably just lactic acid over time to get that tartness. Mount Hood hops on that one. Again, harvest yeast just as a stopgap. So that's what we've got for our recipes today. And we're all mashed in. Let's go to this. You can see the picture in picture. And that'll give me time to actually take a look at the chat and see what's going on there. If I can untangle this here. There we go. All right, 45 watching. Hello, anybody who's just jumping in. River Vera, any water adjustments? So I did add to both of these, I did add some lactic acid straight to the mash just for match pH. Other than that, we're using fairly neutral water. So I'm going for like Munich Hella style, very neutral water. Low minerality overall. Patrick Sandy, I'm late. NP, no, even. No. Science! Dennis Allen Bruin says, love me some Dieter. I kind of agree with that. I'm a huge fan of Dieter for those cream ales. I think that cream ale is going to look nice and bright with Dieter, but that's going to also give some credence to the malt profile and hopefully push forward some corn notes. So I'd probably lean that way too. Harvest wouldn't be bad. Global wouldn't be bad. All those are probably options that we talked about last week when we were conceptualizing the recipe. Does it make a bunch of noise when I move the mic around? Hopefully not. Science. Get a little bit more stirred in here. And then I'm going to start recirculating in just a second too. Start out nice and slow. And just like that, beer is doing beer things. Make sure that's going to be open enough. All right, well, we're all mashed in. Do we have any Q&As on the... does anyone know what particles are usually in RO water from a drinking water store? Generally, the only particles that are going to be in there are going to be... like naturally from any like post filtration that they use, and they're relatively little. It's as close to zero as you can get it from a brewing perspective. If one wanted to use some organic rye flour in a brew in the mash during prime, yeah, definitely in the mash. But be careful, and I would probably couple that with some enzymes as well. So if you're using organic rye flour, I imagine that's going to be relatively high in protein compared to, straight 2-row. So Visco Buster, OptiMash. Throw it all at it. Use rice hulls, lots of rice hulls. Brewing 2 beers all alone, what a challenge. You know what, but you guys are with me, and so I believe in it. I want a beer that tastes like pine cones. That's a good question for Thomas Croskery. Thomas Croskery uses pine sap actually. So if you've got like big old pine trees and they start to sap, which I think they do in the fall, late fall, early winter, he will ask you to collect all that sap. And what he'll do with it is he'll actually add it kind of like a honey. He'll add it in end of boil going into whirlpool, and that dissolves most of it out, and it gets an intense pine flavor. It's actually really tasty. Dr. Rudy, Chinook, and Citra. Yum. It's hard to get the actual pine flavor, though. So, 2 ways that I've found to do it besides just pine sap. Terpenes. You can get terpenes from, there's a couple of places online that sell like direct hop terpenes, and one of them is for like pine tree flavor. The coniness, I don't know. Something like sequoia. Thoughts on mash hopping combined with no boil and thiol boosting yeast. It's a good idea. I will never do it on the commercial scale because we give our grains to cows, and cows don't like hops. It'll make them sick. But yeah, it's a good idea. I also wanted to play around with doing the same kind of thing with Phantasm or those thiol boosting powders. Oh, someone's going limp on me. Oh yeah. Brewing a pseudo lager at the same time as enjoying this. Woo! Brewing together. Nice. I tried mash hopping in the thiolized yeast and got nothing from it. I think there's more to the process than just doing a mash hop. I think you have to do an intense amount and you have to do it correctly. So there's a lot to dig into with mash hopping and everything that thiolized yeasts do. How you control the fermentation is also a big component. I think you'll get just as much. I think you'll find you'll get just as much with a 2-stage whirlpool hop, which is going to be where I would lean. Those tend to precursor into great biotransformation. Whirlpooling at a combination of 180 to 190 and then 140 to 160. 6 ounces in the match, didn't yield anything. That sucks. Yeah, we don't do it on the commercial scale. So I haven't mash hopped honestly since I tried to do a pallet wrecker clone probably 5 years ago. But I've tasted a lot of beers that people have mash hopped that have tasted pretty good. That's a nice thing about having other people that brew not on my system bring me their beers, so I get to kind of gain their experience too. Reverend KY, good morning. By the way, if anyone's in Spokane wants to swing by, help me finish this brew. Brad SQ, is Phantasm powder worth buying? I think it's a fun thing to try out, and so I think it's worth buying just for that. But it is one of those that says it's a brand new product. I haven't had the time to do side-by-sides with it. I'm planning on doing that with Aaron, actually, from Spokane Brew Supply, hopefully in the near future. But I know he's got a lot going on, too. He's setting up a brick and mortar, so he's super busy. How about using juniper for a pine taste? Just a thought. Juniper for pine, I've seen it done, and it's definitely gives you the perception of probably what you want out of pine in the final beer. They don't taste the exact same though, but I love juniper for like that cold. If you imagine a pine tree in the winter with ice crystals on it, and juniper for that sounds pretty good actually. All right, everyone, do something funny in the chat for a second. I'm gonna go grab what I was talking about. I'm gonna grab the OptiMash. I'm gonna put a little bit of the enzyme in that. This one will probably be fine without it. I generally try to mash in a little bit under 150 and then do a slow raise after about 20 minutes. So just to be safe, because I know I mashed this one in a little bit hot, I'm going to add some OptiMash for it though. I'm out of OptiMash. Someone send me some OptiMash. I do have another enzyme that works hot though, so I'm gonna add some of that in. And because I'm already doing it, Glucobuster too. These are going to be super clear beers, so might as well maximize the lautering. And back in the fridge they go. All right. Another little stir. Did it. All right, now we're going to set it and forget it. A baby seal walks into a club. Ha! No boil, no chill combined is something I'll try someday. Interesting. I usually do no boil with counterflow chill. But no boil, no chill. I think there'd be a lot of protein settle out, so depending on if you've got like a cone bottom, that might be something you have to just purge pretty quickly, but in theory. Although, if you did no boil and you mashed out to 180 degrees and then threw hops right into the fermenter, like if it's a stainless fermenter, and you went into, if you no chilled into the fermenter at like 180, 185 with the hops in there, that'd probably be enough time to get some legitimate IBUs and all sorts of other flavors. That'd be interesting. My wife is on here, or was on here. Hello, wife. Ich bin nicht lustig. So we'll say that's, I don't know, 10 minutes of being mashed in. At about minute 20, I'm going to go ahead and start ramping these up to a mash out temperature. So I'm going to get probably just set these for 185. Two reasons, especially on the little guy, because that one's on 110. That's going to take a while to get up to a boil. So the hotter my mash out, the shorter the time to get up to a boil after I'm mashed out. The other reason is just it's going to make lautering super easy. And I haven't gotten flavors off of getting it super, super hot. Hot sparging used to be something that people were kind of worried about to get tannic flavors, but for the most part, all the things that cause tannic flavors are things that settle out, especially if you end up with clear beer in the end, so it doesn't make a difference. 48 watching. By the way, if you enjoy this, feel free to give the video a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Going to brew a Mexican hot chocolate stout this week with chocolate, habanero, cinnamon, chocolate, lactose, and roasted marshmallows. Any recommendations? That sounds delightful. Definitely get habaneros in two different places. So undershoot the habaneros for, let's say, a whirlpool habanero or a boil habanero, but then plan on doing more habanero-iness as a tincture or something like that. Cinnamon, I like to do cinnamon in secondary and steam. So I'd probably do, if you did cocoa nibs and cinnamon at the same time. Then I would steam those together and then toss those into secondary. Chocolate 2 places is always a good idea too, though. So get some sort of a cocoa nib or some sort of a chocolate into the end of the boil too for that rich, deep chocolate flavor. Lactose and roasted marshmallow. Roasted marshmallow is a difficult flavor to get. I would plan on maybe having a small, if you can find a really, really nice flavoring or extract, to do just a tiny bit at the end of it. That's the way to go, because if you add marshmallow straight to your mash or boil or anything like that, they're just going to taste like they're just sugar. So the roast flavor is really hard to get. Might have to try that no boil technique. What style would work best? I've tried no boils with sours. Sours is how I got into no boils. The batch of beer over in that tank right there actually is a no boil sour that's going to be like a crumble, like a berry crumble flavor. But no boils can work for anything. There's a bunch of people who have been super successful. One actually here in Spokane doing no boil hazy IPAs. In the winter because I'm still on a propane burner here, in the winter when I want to just save a bunch of time and not have to lug a bunch of stuff outside, I will use a bunch of different techniques to make no boil happen for me, because I can shorten my 2-barrel brew day down to like 4 hours, which is awesome. It's a time saver. It's less to clean, except for when you're doing IPAs, because I usually like do a double hop back kind of situation. So instead of adding hops to the mash, I'll get my mash up to like 185, and then I'll run my wort through my mash, and then I'll do a side boil for just my bittering too, where I'll take a little bit out of the mash and then boil that on the side with some water and some hops, and I'll add that into what I'm using as my hop back or wort grant. So no boil IPAs are really fun to do, but they're technical and take a little bit of engineering. But you can do it with a lot of things. Have I tried distilled hop oils? I have tried distilled hop oils. I use the Glacier ones, Glacier Ranch ones. With mixed effects, sometimes they tasted a little bit too ick for me, like it's like too pungent in the wrong way. But sometimes they taste really, really good. I also tried Hops Oil. But terpenes, in my experience, if you're going to use a flavoring to boost it up, terpenes or even things that aren't hops that have hop-like flavors are really fun for boosting up flavors. Jimmy J, I bought flaked corn marketed for distillers, and they were way thicker than homebrew flakes, I think from some independent producer. A lot of people that use flaked corn in the distilling world, they plan on fermenting on the corn, so the yeast slowly chew through it over time, so their mash process is done way differently. I think less efficiently and less good, but the distillers are those backcountry people who just have a giant bucket and some fire, and they're gonna make shine happen. So that's probably why. Do you think you can get the marshmallowy mouthfeel with buckwheat though? Interesting. I think the lactose is a good step for getting the marshmallowy mouthfeel, but I can imagine some puffy grains helping out too. Frazzle Penguin, or if you want different, you can do a boil but use hot rocks. That's the way to go, especially if you have a fancy system like the Mash and Boil or the Brewzilla or the Anvil Foundry, and then you do a Stein beer with those. That's actually fun for like the instant contact caramelization. You get some fun flavors off of doing a true Stein beer, and maybe not using a campfire for it. Oh, no boil, you can hop the mash and not need to dry hop. Yeah, you can hop the mash. Again, I don't like to hop the mash just because I give my spent grains to animals, and animals can get sick from hops. But what I like to do is I'll recirculate my mash in one of these, and I'll get it up to like 185 in my mash, and then I will kill all the heat, and then I'll just run it straight through like a secondary. Like let's say I was on this big guy, the Brewzilla right here. I would run it through an empty, like a mash and boil. With all the hops that I had in the mash and boil at the 185, and let it soak and infuse in that for about 20 minutes, and then I would run it into my fermenter. So it's not a chill, but it's or it's not a boil, but it's a hot infusion. So you still get lots of flavors and some IBUs. Jimmy says, since my spruce lasted so well through my boil, do you think other additions would work well in mash, like cacao, orange peel, and other spicers for that hour steep? I haven't played too much with doing things in the mash, but I imagine it would. I think the cacao would. When we do like all our cereal beers, like our Count Chocula, we get a good chocolate flavor off of what little cocoa is actually on the cereals when you put that in the mash. So I think a lot of things would make it through the boil more than you'd expect, but It's hard to say for sure. SG Brain Strain. Was thinking about roasting the crap out of marshmallows with a torch first. Yeah, getting some sort of that burnt flavor will definitely help out and give the perception of the roasted marshmallows. But it's still one of those things that you can do everything you think to get that roasted marshmallow flavor. I would even say if you did, thin sheet of marshmallow on a pan, like if you did marshmallow spread, or like you chopped your marshmallows up super small, and then to maximize that surface area, and then popped them under the broiler in your oven. That'd be even toasting on a lot of small bits, which is better than big bits. But even then, I would just count on having some sort of a nice toasted marshmallow flavoring already ready to go. And then when you taste your beer in the keg towards at the very end of the brew, if you're like, I still need a little bit more, then you have that in your back pocket to just kick it up. Don't rely on that 100% for the flavor, but just for that extra kiss of flavor. Sometimes those artificial extracts or those flavorings can help out quite a bit. Or could you use dark candy sugar? I got a burnt sugar flavor from that. You could. I haven't experienced using dark candy sugar too much outside of just Belgian beers, mostly because it's expensive. But yeah, that flavor, or even try to caramelize your own sugars. Again, same kind of concept. You could take a sheet pan, put different kinds of sugars on your sheet pan, throw it under the broiler, and just get it to the melting point, and then see if that caramelization kind of gives you that caramelized sugar flavor. Brad asks you, I know it isn't normal, but I recently cold brewed 4-ounce Cascade in the fridge 24 hours and added at flame out. Turned out amazing. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't tried anything cold hopped wise. Added it at flame out. The flame out would be enough to get some sort of solubility in it. I'm not sure what the cold steeping would do. If there's science behind that, if there's articles I need to read, let me know. I will do it. Matthew Weiser, I am driving while texting and watching the live stream. You could probably add like one more task onto that at the same time, I think. I don't know, maybe drinking and driving while texting and watching the live stream. Do it up. Also, welcome, Matt. Hi. Matt. We're making the state beers. They're happening. Also, I'm just getting over being sick, so I still got a little bit of cough left. Did you see my question on the flour? Patrick Sandy. I saw the baby seal. Oh, organic rye flour. Yeah, I did. You said primary? I would add it during the mash. Yeah, your organic rye flour I would add during the mash, and I would make sure you add enzymes and all the stuff. The reason being, I'm imagining rye flour to be higher protein than even like an organic barley flour. And I would definitely want to have some sort of breakdown of the protein, because you're going to get more sugars off that. Still have some proteins left over, but yeah, I would... Unless you're trying to do a hazy. I guess I've seen people add flour directly to the end of the boil to get that hazy effect. I don't really like that way to go, but my answer would be in the mash. Also, I hope somebody else clocked what time I started on, because I'm not really sure. But I'm sure it's been 20 minutes, and so I'm going to go ahead and start kicking up the heat. So I'm going to turn on both these while they're recirculating. Excuse me. And I'm going to set them to 185. Then we're going to get that all the way up to that mash out temperature. Then we're going to pull them and start boiling. On. Perfect. By the way, that big guy, the 65 liter, I got mashed in at my perfect temperature, which is 148. It was like 148.2. So that one's doing great. Like I said, the little one mashed in a little bit hot. That was like 154. And so I added some extra enzymes to make sure it did its job. But I ain't too worried. It's got a lot of corn in it. It'll have simple sugars. It'll be fermentable. But that is too hot of a mash, which is unfortunate. If I really need to do some adjusting on the fly, I might add some simple sugars to the fermenter and actually make it a slightly bigger batch, depending on how it tends to gravity out. Matt says, how goes the brew day? It goes good. We is a brewing. For Alaska, I'm making a neokvass. I'm baking juniper rye bread for it as well. Oh, great. Crazy. I like that idea. A neokvass. Badass, you haven't seen any articles for cold brewing hops. I just thought it made coffee better, so I should try it with hops. Hey, I like it. That's how you figure stuff out. A lot of stuff that I figured out while brewing didn't come from articles either. It's just like, hey, I've got this stuff, and this theoretically should work, so let's try it. That'll be something to dig some science into, see what happens. Alaska, we are allowing tree beers. Yeah, we are. I should probably get started on our Alaska beer sooner rather than later, too. I already feel like with these beers, I'm cutting it a little bit close with kegging time to have these ready by the end of January. Because both of these are going to want a condition. And I'm going to have to do some adjusting on the fly to figure out exact flavors for each of these, too. Have I tried using the Nova Lager? Not yet. I ordered some, though. I'm parched. I'm going to get something to drink. Comment what I should get to drink, and thumbs up if you want me to drink it. Would it be cool to do like if this was my spot? What talking spot do you like? Do you guys like better, this spot or this spot? I can do either one. 2 cameras. Although that one is going to run out of batteries. I only have that one set up to an automatic battery or a plug-in battery. The vertical one I have set up to just a battery. So it's going to run out eventually, and I'm going to have to change it. But let me know, because why not? Still trying to figure out how I'm going to get rice flavor into the horchata porter. I'm experimenting making rice milk and pasteurizing it for an hour at 155. Not sure how long it would keep. Matt Lopez, I like the rice milk idea a lot. I don't know if we talked about that in the live stream last week, but I mean, it's the really common thing to do with oat milk and stuff like that, almond milk, for getting those kind of flavors and extra proteins into beer. And I think it's doable, maybe even in secondary as a flavoring component. But yeah, keep me updated. I'm excited for that. I'm thinking wanted to add it pre-fermentation. Someone recommended sorbisat K instead of pasteurization. I can see, wanting to chemically clean it up versus using actual pasteurization, so you don't break out some of the proteins and flavors. But I would try it both ways if you've got the time to play around and experiment. I would definitely try it both ways. Patrick Sandy, I'm thinking of using bread yeast to start it, some more bread flavor, then pitching something to finish the attenuation. Thoughts on what to use? I would make a small beer. I would probably have to rely on blending in that situation, because some bread yeasts are strangely strong. Maybe do find somebody who makes a really clean sourdough and use a sourdough starter on like a 1 gallon batch and then plan on blending that in. What did I grab? I actually grabbed a cider. Matt said to grab beer, but I didn't read it because I was busy going over there. I grabbed cider. The shot to a green wall is better. First game, I don't know what's first game. First game's one we're on right now, right? As people are mentioning what to do. Make a glue beer, basically a mulled beer. Take a wee heavy, heat it up in a pot with cinnamon, cardamom, clove, nutmeg. So last year we wanted to do a warm beer festival. Things don't happen because, you know, there's a lot of things to do when running a business, but best dry hops for cider. Willamette, if you've got whole cone Willamette, is my favorite, actually. Other than that, whatever you can get in cryo hops or lupulin pellets. But anyways, yeah, a warm beer festival. So doing like glue beer with, or mulled beer with all sorts of different things, like, you know, English beer, porters, stouts, light beer. Why not? Let's try it. I can see a light beer, like even like an American Heffy style beer, but then do all the classic whip bread or whip beer spices as the mulling spices in a warm beer. So you get all that same acidity and brightness, or actually just using fresh orange. Patrick Sandy, tossed my sourdough starter when I moved. Gotta start a new one. Now's the time. Why not? Never a better time than now. SG Brain Strain, after watching / listening to a ton of you guys, Brewlosophy and Dr. Hans, I scored a 41 on my NEPA and a BJCP comp. First competition and 6th beer I ever made. Thanks for the help. That's awesome. 41 is super good. For those of you guys who don't know, BJCP scoring, it's out of 50. 50 is unheard of. No one will ever make it. I think the highest score I've ever seen in person was a 48. Again, that's very unheard of. I've seen 42s and 43s win competitions consistently. Anything above about a 38 is what I would call commercial level. You could be a commercial brewery above a 38. There's a lot of commercial breweries that are consistently making between 32s and 36s. And they're fine. They're passable. There may be like minor flaws, but they're not good. There's breweries that are commercially out there that are probably making sub 30s quite a bit. Yeah, 41 is really, really good. Very, very difficult to get. As a former BJCP certificated individual, let's see how we're doing real quick. All right. So little guy's up to 181. Yeah, we're probably going to rely on a shorter mash just so we can get into the boil before we've got to... I'm going to try to close everything out by 11 on this. So we're going to shorten these, abridge these matches a little bit. But we're up 181 on the little guy. And we're already up to temperature on the big guy, actually. So I'm going to have to grab a stool and prepare to start yanking my grains. I'm going to go heat up some side water, too, so I can do a mini sparge. The nice thing about the Brewzilla right here is that that's got a two-step mash basket, so you can bring it halfway up and then the rest of the way up while it kind of like drains. But I'm gonna go get some water started on a little kettle in the back, and then I'm probably gonna pull the little guy first and then the big guy, just because that one's gonna take a little bit longer to boil and it's gonna boil a little bit less rapidly. Wait, scratch that. No, I'll pull big guy first. I'll pull big guy first because the boil on my recipe is longer on that guy. So that would make sense. Do you know anything about Nuremberg rot beer? I do not, but I would love to hear more. Prepare my my little kit. Get ready to do my hoppings. By the way, comment what you guys think of this type of setup. I think one of the things that I was planning on wanting to do a while ago is to be able to go back and forth between our standard talking heads, hey, we have a show with a list of topics to go over, style live streams, and then the actual brewing style live streams. So if this works for you guys, this might be something that we do more often. But I want feedback. I don't want to jump into it and be like, yeah, we're going to be brewing on the live stream all the time. And then you guys are like, that kind of sucks. We just want the regular show, guys. So let me know. GD Rider, have to head off to work. See you later. Sorry you have to go. When I'm doing stuff, is that big enough for you guys to see? Is it better with a little bit bigger? You guys want to see the stuff? Maybe I'll switch to that one when I actually start doing the yanking my grains. So now it could be zoomed in more to the kettles. Like that? Is that better? Is that better? Doing kettle-y things. Frazzled, I would appreciate a better view of yanking the grains. Nice. Where's that cider from? I sent one to you, but it's definitely not that clear. Haha. This is just one on tap. I don't touch the beers that you guys send because I'm not allowed to. That's Matt's job. Patrick Sandy says he enjoys this format, likes the chaos. Matt says his feedback doesn't count because he sits next to me. I think the siding could be zoomed in. What side is that from? We appreciate a better view of yanking grains. Yeah. Sweet. All right, I'm going to go grab a stepping stool because I'm going to need that for yanking the big one. And I'm going to adjust this mic when I come back. All right, now you're seeing all me. All right, I'm rolling that one up to a boil. I'm going to grab some water to pour over it. I've only got about a gallon or 2 gallons to go because I went pretty close to my full volume. So basically, I just need to make up for grain absorption there. Bonus points if anyone knows what what phrase I'm supposed to yell when I yank the grains. It's a super inside joke. anyone guessed I love animals, congratulations, you're correct. Matt says, "Good job, Peter, not touching the beers." That's right. I know my jobs. Who's doing a Thanksgiving leftover brew? Oh, that sounds chaotic and amazing. All the pies you have left over? Oh, there's options. There's options. Trouble Brewing with Matt Usham. What up, fam? What up, Trouble Brewing? Ooh, such a big, strong man. You're right. Dang right I am. Love the Brewzilla minus that malt pipe handle. Yeah, that malt pipe handle is a little bit chaotic, but at the same time, there's a lot of other things to love about it, so. Mashed potatoes belong in the mash. Yeah, mostly. Matt Weiser, he actually has muscles. That's right. Being a 6'2", 250-pound guy who lifts brewing stuff all the time actually has some benefits. Senna Kella. Just picked up 19 beers for my homebrew club's Christmas bottle swap. Should I try the 13% English barley wine, the 11.5% Belgian quad, or the 10% Imperial stout? Yeah, I think you start with a 13 and work your way down. That's the only way to go. Heating up to a boil right now for a Schwarzbier. Schwarzbiers are great. Patrick Sandy, those are all quite boozy. Yes, they are. A Gesundheit, when you finish, may be appropriate. Oh, Gesundheit. Start with a quad so you don't destroy your palate. Quad stout barley wine. Sean Huntley, why not all of them? That's what I'm saying. Just noticed the DBZ shirt. That's right. Riv, I brewed a chocolate stout, added 4.4 pounds of raspberry, adding cocoa nibs and vanilla in secondary. 1.0 A5 for the final OG. Sweet. Send me one. Sure that'll be ready in a clean 4 to 6 months. And Grandma's Green Bean Casserole IPA. Heck yeah. Lisa MacArthur, steak. That's what's for dinner. Do we have a second admin in the channel? I know we've got Matt, and if Jimmy's still here, Jimmy's he's got admin privileges. All right, where's the malt pipe handle? Second lift. Wah. Up to 188. And nobody issues, skin and bones with big boobs. Didn't know I was that nimble, did you? Pretty spry for a 250-pound white guy. Okay. Jimmy, me, and Adam. Dr. Sandy doing mostly 1-gallon batches for the state beers. Going to do fun, higher ABV ones. Giant Beat brewing a Mexican lager with Motueka right now. Nice. Get that lime flavor. Nothing wrong with that, especially if you're worried about weird flavors like steak or trout. Yeah, I ain't worried about weird flavors. I'm gonna try to do most of mine in 10 or 15 gallons. 10 or 15 gallon. I mean, I've already made a 50-gallon lobster beer, or a 2-barrel lobster beer. Why not? I feel like I missed something. Can someone explain the state beers thing? Is it a competition? Frazzle Penguin, yes, state beers. So we are brewing one beer for every state. You can brew one for any state that you identify with. I'm guessing Washington is going to be any of the northern border states are going to be one of the ones that you might identify with. And then afterwards, we might go Canada or provinces or something like that. I don't know. But there's 50 states to go through. So once a month, we're picking a new state. There is a challenge with that state. The main challenge for the first one, which is Alabama, is pecan beer. That's not a porter. So I'm doing a Pecan Amber Lager. There is a bonus beer you can do for this one, which is a fried green tomato beer, because why not? And so I'm doing both of those right now. So Pecan Amber Lager is the big one. Fried green tomato one's the little one. That's going to be our Alabama beer. And the tasting / launch of that beer is going to happen at the end of every month starting January. So January is going to be releasing Alaska beer. February is going to be releasing... January is going to be Alabama, February is Alaska, March is Arizona, April is Arkansas, May, so on and so forth, all in alphabetical order. And then, we'll have 50 beers that are definitely the official state beers for every state, and they have to go with them. That's just the rule. So we write our senators and make sure that they know that they have a state beer now. Bye. And anybody who makes these state beers and sends them to us, we will be drinking on whatever the culmination day is. So I'm going to try to do the culminating day towards the end of every session, every state month, like a week in advance, but then release the actual video on like the last day of January, I guess, last day of the month. That's the goal, something like that. All right, let's get that there. Got a little ways to go. Also, happy Small Brewery Sunday. That's a thing. Also, what happened in the Apple Cup? Dustin, have fun. Need to drop and get ready to see 6 in the theater. Don't know what that is. Sounds good. Well, I like they have to be the state beer rule. Yeah, that's real. Genus Brewing, would I pick an off flavor and make a drinkable beer out of it? Yeah. Doing large batches are easy when you can sell it. Yes, they are. All right, I think we're caught up. All right, both for kettley things are now heating up to their boiliness. That one needs about another gallon in it. That one's going to need also about another gallon in it, but I'll just do that over time. I'm not super worried about the sparge being perfect because the grains are going to settle and the water is going to channel down through them. That's okay. I over calculated for stuff, so it's a pretty easy going brew day. Also, my flashlight's still on. All right, grab more water. What a miss. Oh, it's a lot. Matt's made butterscotch cream ale. Matt mentioned that the list is in the Discord of all state beers, and so if you're doing the state beer challenge, check out the Discord. There's a list there of what the challenges are for each state. Fresh Country Ales, what up? Boiliness. What the Michigan state beer is. Check out the Discord. It's going to be on the Discord. Illinois. It's going to be a good state beer. Believe. You've got to believe. Slowly but surely. We are rising to success. We got another 10-15 minutes before either one of these is up at a boil. That's when I'll go grab the hops and get the first hop addition in. The barrel is in focus. I've got it on autofocus. I just kind of assumed that if I was in the right spot, I can be the focus. That's probably super quiet for you because Mike's back here, but you get what I'm saying. The most stereotypes we could find. In the good way. What's the address to mail beer samples to? Genus Brewing. It's 17018 East Sprague, Spokane Valley, 99018 or 99037. But if you look up Genus Brewing, Spokane Valley, or Genus Brewing, our Google business page, it's there. The address is there. Address on our website. Discord is the only place to find the state list so far. When we start releasing these beers, we'll probably have a page dedicated to them on our website too. Probably should put the address in the state beer tab. Good point. Yeah, Matt, do a Discord thing. Haha. 10:03. $40 people watching. How many of you guys have thumbs up the video? $33. We're missing out. How many of you watched the Bagel Beer video? Did you like it? We've got more. Oh, also we have the state beer announcement video to launch too. I'll probably publish that later today. So stay tuned, and you can see all those state beers, and then we'll also have a list. A link to the list. +1, just tuned in. Thomas Bear. Thank you. And thank you for liking the video. It's so weird. I can see myself up on that TV right there. Now I got to figure out. I know there's a way. There was a an option to put the live chat up on the TV, and then it just went away. Tell me how, ain't nothing but a thing, yeah. I don't know. I'll figure it out. All right, more water. More sign up. Ooh. That one is at a nice rolling boil now, so I'm going to go grab some hops and get those in there. And that means I got to find a spot for the grain basket too. I'm going to do that. Oogie. All right, so while that continues to drain, looks like I'm right at volume. So I might need to add a little bit more liquid, but it's for the most part pretty good. And I'm not gonna lose a lot to hop absorption because there's so little hops going in this 10-gallon batch. It's a little over, but the bag was almost empty, so, you know, YOLO. Also, one of the nice things about these all-in-one systems that come with their own recirculation pump is if you're ever worried about it not mixing right or about it getting boil over just because of the verticalness of it, because if pockets of water vapor end up below, like towards the bottom, then they can do big like bloop, bloop bursts and sometimes risk that sort of boil over. But since this one has a bottom drain port, it's really nice because you can just recirculate it the entire time. Not that I'm super worried about it, but that will help avoid that those periods where it looks like it's boiling nicely and then all of a sudden you get a big like bloop, bloop kind of burst. Not going to be a huge issue for this batch, but especially if it was like a true trying to go 15-gallon batch where it's right up towards the edge. Just being able to recirculate it the entire time can be a lifesaver. Plus, if you end up putting like a hop spider or something on it, it can start filtering those out. I won't do that yet, but I might do that towards the end. Oh. Speaking of boilovers, so I got a little bit of sparging to do left on that, so I'm going to grab some more water. All right, let that one chill out for a little bit. While that cools down, then I'll empty out the malt pipe for the big guy and start doing the same for the little guy. Any of you guys catch that before I did? Sean Huntley, have a nice rest of your day. I'm off to brunch at Jernigan's and my bike ride. Well, have fun, Sean. Is Colorado yellow snow? Colorado is bull testicles, so not far off. What am I missing out on the chat? Patrick Sandy, I loved you flooding the table with bagels. Yeah. Paste the list into the comments. Dustin Light, later for real this time. Later, probably not still on, but later for when you were. Just popped cap on the 13% barley wine. Smells amazing. I wish I could have some. Tell your homebrew club they owe me. Not really, but I'll always take beer. Your address is also at the bottom of this live chat. If you click the more button, cool. Ooh, Blood Orange Saison right now. Nice. Blood Orange Cali Common? Yeah. California has the bonus if you want to do a fish taco beer. Yes, that's true. And fish taco beer can go really well with blood oranges as well. Where's our favorite German today? I don't know. Stefan Sotomayor, where you at? How many different beers did you have on Thanksgiving? 0. I was in bed. Yeah, so the current list is not hard and fast. It's adjustments probably will be made over time. But we've got a list to go off of, so we got a starting point. We're jumping into Alabama. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona are all pretty set. And if we make adjustments, it won't be anything major. It'll be like a quick adjustment. Like, oh, yeah, you can do this instead. Barley wine is amazing. I want some. Not worried about pump temp when recirculating during the boil. Nope. Most pumps that are in the brewing sector, especially this pump, is good up to boiling temperature and can handle a little bit of water vapor / gas release. Some pumps can't, but the ones that we're using are the ones that are in that can. If it gets super boily, then we will notice some hiccups if we're trying to do a long draw. If we're trying to push through any resistance. Let's say that was connected to a counterflow chiller and the boiler was on. That would cause some issues because the resistance plus the fact that there could be, water vapor or gases releasing while it goes into the pump can cause the pump to stall. But for this short draw recirculation on the Firmzilla, totally fine. Make a cheddar wine for Wisconsin, or make a massive batch of whey for your strike water. There's a brewer in Spokane who uses whey in a lot of his, not a lot, but he's trying to make mead taste like beer, and so he uses whey to kind of give that beer thickness, that beer feel. It's super interesting. Cheese Crips tincture, that'd be a good way to do it. Little Bar Brewing, Cheese Crips, excellent idea. I think we've got a winner on that one. What are you drinking? I've got a smoky dark mild. I'm drinking a cider because it's light and I know it's going to pour well off my draft system. What's everyone else drinking? Let us know. All right, I'm going to grab another glug of water for that. And then I should only need one more after I can pull those grains and make sure that gets back up to a boil. And then that boil time is going to be slightly behind the big guy's boil time, so that'll work out pretty well. I should be finishing them pretty close together. It wouldn't be a terrible thing if I finished that one a little bit earlier, because then I can chill that one faster because it's smaller, but then get that one chilled and into a fermenter, and then chill this one right after. So if I finish this one 15 to 20 minutes before I finish this one, that'd be ideal. Oh, ouch. Hot water is some crazy stuff, man. I only burned myself a little bit, don't worry. Don't ever let hot water ruin your dreams. I'm surprised that camera still got batteries on it. That's been on for over an hour. Good job, that camera's batteries. See y'all next week. Bye, Matt. Does our Quake expert have any non-commercial strains he'd be willing to ship to wayward homebrewers? Probably. I don't know. Jimmy, are you still in the chat? %13 English barley wine, double decoction mash, brewed on 24th September 2021. Keg conditioned for 4 months and then bottled. Yum. Someone's just drinking boring offie. Makes sense. Publix grape, mango, hibiscus tea. Hombrera, what are you drinking? All right. Strap in, so back on, set, let's go. 212. Boil on the big guy. We'll probably only go for another 20 minutes. You guys won't get to see the end. I'll get definitely through adding the hops there. And then when we get close to 11, I'm going to shut it down and probably start having to do a little bit of cleanup here before people come in and start to get open. So if you got any questions, make sure you ask them in the next 20-ish minutes. You won't miss much. We're just going to get to the end of the boils here, cool these down, get them into fermenters, and pitch the 2 yeasts that are in the recipes that I showed you. And the only hops that's going into there is a 2-stage addition of Mount Hood. So Mount Hood's going to go in at 60 and 15 as per, again, the recipe that I linked in the description below. And yeah. All right, I'm going to go grab some more water for that, and I'll be back. Also, if anyone in Spokane needs some spent grains or has a goat that they want to sell me, let me know. I need a goat. I should do a Mr. Beer kit for one of the state beers just for the lulz. I agree. That'd be fun. If they still haven't sent your beer package, I could piggyback on top of that. Oh, yeah, that's true. We still haven't said it. I'll be honest, it's just going to be something that I need to be constantly reminded about or that Matt's going to eventually do. Never used Mountain Hood hops. What's the flavor profile? Mountain Hood are like they're like a Sauser derivative kind of thing. So they have a lot of that same noble hop flair, but they're earthier and spicier. And they don't have that distinct, like, overly pungent lemongrass kind of Saaz flavor. Slightly lemony, slightly grassy, but they're more earthy and spicy rather than just what I call the flavor of Saaz, which is just Saaz flavor. I like Mount Hood. It's one of my favorite all-rounders. Can work for Belgians, can work for English beers, can work for pseudo-German beers. Can be a good hop to add depth to like an IPA if you're doing a West Coast and you already got your Citra and Columbus and all your big hops on there. A little bit of Mount Hood's good to blend in there. It's a very multi-purpose hop. And I am a fan. My better judgment to do that. There's always a little extra liquid you can get off it. Always that little extra. Da-da-da. Have you used Triskel hops before? I've used Triskel. What do you think about bagging the hops in the mash? Keep enough material out of the grains for animals? Yeah, probably. I think it'd probably be fine. I think it's mostly just when you get the actual hop plant matter in there. But again, yeah, that's with pelletized hops, they also break up quite a bit, so it's hard to say. Sounds like a perfect house hop just to throw in anything from a golden ale to a lager or a porter. Yeah, Mount Hood is very, very versatile. Daniel agrees. Mount Hood is great. And if you want the full German character, you can blend in Liberty for the higher notes of the noble character. Yeah, Liberty's good too. Liberty, Mount Hood, and Sterling are kind of my Americanized go-tos for creating that pseudo-German flavor. My last brew was a 5.5% Midwest IPA brewed with 4.5 kilos of Maris Otter, a quarter kilo of Pale Crystal, 400 grams of oats, and used Apollo, Chinook, and Columbus, and Fuggles. Hazy, but it tastes like a West Coast. Nice. Yeah, I like those West Coast hopping flavors, actually. I've started to get a little bit sick of the intensely juicy, overly fruity hop flavors that you can get from some super hazies. They're good, but I got overdone on them, and now I don't enjoy them as much. No, that's probably not enough, but I'll try it. There's a little bit. A little extra beer. Ouch. That was super hot. Probably, but I'm gonna do it. The nice thing about the ones that have the attached handle is that it does wrap around a little bit, so it makes dumping easier. Throw these in the washy area. Oh, does that not fit? Doesn't fit, huh? All right, that won't force it. I'll just go up and over. Be right back. When we do these things with two people, it'll make it that much easier to have someone always on while all the boring cleaning stuff is getting done. Trying to make as little mess as possible. This one's pretty well done. Like I said, this one's got one of the handles that wraps around, so I can just tilt it right away. Like that. So cleanup on these mash pads is sort of a little bit easier than the Brewzilla ones, but they both work. I'm going to go ahead and get my 60-minute in on the cream ale. Ounce of Mount Hood. Now we're off to the races. Let's See if we got any last minute questions. Thomas Bear, thanks for streaming. Always giving good information, informative answers. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, Thomas. Thank you so much. Patrick, what's a Midwest IPA? It's like a West Coast and a East Coast or a New England. It's got characteristics of both worlds. Yeah, a bit of like a West Coast using old school hops, all that. Sina Kella, looks like I really want to do this dark light lager using black rice to get the color. Looks like it'd be a great beer to throw into bottle swap as a curveball for people. I love doing stuff like that, actually. Color it one way, but flavor it the other way. Like the opposite of a dark stout, or the opposite of a white stout. We've thought about doing something similar, actually. I don't know about the black rice. We thought about one of the state beers actually is I think it's the darkest light beer possible. I don't know. We've thought about all different ways to super darken a thing. Forbidden rice loses its color in the boil. Would be interesting to try a no-boil beer with it, but fermentation might still scrub it out. Yeah, it's difficult to get a lot of rice flavors, colors, things into the final product. Sugar Creek makes a malted black rice. Huh, that'd be interesting. All right, let me know last minute questions. I'm going to close out the stream in probably the next 5 minutes, and then I can work on finishing up the beer. All I've got left to do, I do have one more hop edition on the cream ale. Just a 15-minute edition of Mount Hood. It's going to be a while from now. And other than that, I'm going to be doing all my pre-cleaning stuff while I finish them out. Chill down, toss in fermenters, add yeast, all the stuff, you know how it's done. So if you got any last minute questions, let me know. Other than that, I'll be hanging out for about another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to close down the stream. I'll be impressed if that battery lasts the entire way. Oh, I am going to start probably... That's clicking. I don't know why that's making popping sounds. I'm going to start probably getting a hop screen in here and recirculating through the hop screen just to get particles out before I go into the fermenter. I got a while before it's necessary. I'll do that before I do chili stuff. That way I don't have to use a hop spider. I remember offering to send you a Cinnamar. Oh, yeah. I've never used Cinnamar still. I think CH made a video using that. Just another guy. Thanks for the live. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Patrick Sandy, West Virginia should have a bonus pepperoni roll beer. If you need education in West Virginia pepperoni bills, I will be your teacher. Hell yeah. Because when pepperoni rolls are on a bagel, you can eat pepperoni roll beer anytime. Sugar Creek. I might have to look up Sugar Creek. That sounds good. Fun, 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 fun. See if I can get that to. Do its thing. It did it. Haha, figured it out. Well, maybe not. Pepperoni roll. All right, guys, I'm going to work on closing out the stream. Thank you so much for all you who tuned in. Stay tuned. We'll do some more videos on how these beers were made and the behind the scenes on these beers. So stay tuned for that. Like this video if you're still here. Thumbs up, comment, check out the Discord. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to talk about other beers we're going to do. Probably start on the Alaska beer recipe building next week. And now I'm gonna start cleaning.